Today on Grow Up, Level Up, we are kicking off the new year by chatting with one of, I would say, Western Canada's most famous people. We're talking to Kevin Dhir, founder and CEO of Galint Gaming, who you might know runs the Battle of BC. We're talking to Kevin today all about all the types of events he's run before, including the upcoming Pataka Esports Festival, what it's like to run large-scale competitive events, and an insight into his style of leadership and how he runs a business. Welcome to Grow Up, Level Up. Kevin Dhir, how's it going?
Hello, guys. Hi, good evening. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Samson and Jordan. I'm really excited to chat with you guys about all the fun stuff I've gotten up to in my career in esports so far.
Oh my gosh, we love esports here. Actually, esports is how Jordan and I met, but we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. I want you to kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are. I gave the official spiel. Now you get to.
For sure.
You
Yeah, my name's Kevin Dhir.
Yeah.
I'm the founder and CEO of Galint Gaming. We're an esports event production company based proudly in Vancouver, Canada. Me, myself, I'm a passionate gamer. I've been in the esports and gaming space my entire life, honestly. And my earliest memories are playing Smash Bros. 64 with my older brother and cousins. I've been organizing events in the esports space since high school. Started my first esports org when I was 15 in my high school and never really stopped. I love gaming. I love people. I love events. And naturally, I brought it all together and I'm now running an events company in esports. So,
Oh,
that's
heck
a bit about me.
yeah. Wow. What a background. Speaking of esports and games in general, what is your favorite game of all time?
Without a doubt, it's Super Smash Bros. Melee. I think Super Smash Bros. Melee transcends being a game. To me, it is a sport. It is an art form, and it is truly something magical. A once in a lifetime game that I'm blessed to have in my lifetime.
And the natural
yeah.
follow-up question is, who do you main?
I main Jigglypuff, but also Fox McCloud. So I'm kind of a dual main between the two, and that's pretty funny because they're kind of polar opposites. But Jigglypuff for over a decade, Fox for the past 2 years.
Okay, and I mean, Fox in Melee terms is like, I mean, come on, he's got the wave dash. Yeah, it's totally true. So
of course, and that sexy baritone voice, as they say on Twitch, is of course Jordan, aka Sir Dr. JM. Jordan, how are you doing tonight?
Well, hello. Thank you for that intro. I wasn't expecting to be called sexy
somebody
on the
called
first episode
you
of
out.
The show, but I like it.
Somebody called you out on that over the break. Somebody called you the sexy baritone voice.
Yes, that's right. That was over on Respawn Aim Fire's Game of the Year recording that we did. A very kind commenter asked to have me come back so they could hear my sultry voice again. And I was very surprised by that, but I appreciate it. So
amazing. Well,
your voice is quite sultry as somebody is hearing it for one of the first time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, today on Grow Up, Level Up, like I said, we're going to dive deep into Kevin's journey as an organizer, leader, events planner, and overall, I guess, just esports enjoyer, and kind of explore that venue of the world in Vancouver. Because I talked a little bit about this right before the show started. Battle of BC, if we could start there. I've seen Battle of BC come and go over the years. Me, myself, I'm not a competitive fighting game person, but it's always something that I'm like, if I reached out a little bit, I feel like I could get really into it. But Battle of BC is something I really wanted to get into for a long time. Kevin, what is Battle of BC? And I guess, how did it come to be?
Yeah, Battle of BC is Canada's premier fighting game event. So we're the most significant gaming event in the fighting game space here in Canada. It's about 2,500 people every year at the Vancouver Convention Center. And I really have grown this event from grassroots to global. It started back in 2016. I started it, where it's at now. Kind of crazy. It is really this international scale thing. 22 different countries represented this past year, 6 games on our main lineup. 2 of those I can't actually talk about right now because Nintendo, but
okay.
Street Fighter, Tekken, 2XKO, Rivals of Ether 2, and some games that I really hope we get to add to our lineup once I get permission to add to them. And where it all started was 2016. I was in first year of university, and I had taken on the position as I started the Super Smash Bros. Department at UBC Esports, and so I was hosting monthly tournaments at UBC already, and they were growing and growing. And in January of 2016, I flew down to San Jose, California, and I attended an event called Genesis 3, which at the time was the biggest Smash Bros. Tournament in history. And it was at the San Jose Convention Center. And I was just awestruck. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is so cool. The scale of this, it's so well run. I helped volunteer at the event, so I got to really get a feel for how they're even putting it on. And on that flight home, I said, I want to run my own major one day. And that actually was the spawn of Battle of BC.
Wow.
5 months later, I held the first Battle of BC at UBC, a one-day 400-person event that popped off quite a bit. 400 people back then, actually pretty insane in retrospect for an 18-year-old to be running. And
Wow.
yeah, a decade later, we're coming up on Battle of BC 8 now. So
Holy moly.
That's
Wow.
nuts.
So it really was a project born out of passion, out of
For sure.
inspiration. Awesome. So have you been to, you mentioned going to Genesis 3, like do you go to all the major fighting game tournaments in North America, like EVO? I don't even know all of them. I know
yeah,
EVO.
I've been to pretty much everything you can think of for the most part. These days, I'm trying to avoid going to Evos if I can, just because of some stuff behind the scenes. But yeah, I've been all over the world for fighting game tournaments, and I think I'm really blessed to have had a passion that's taken me all around the world and all around North America. I love events, as I said, not just hosting them. I love being at them and that thrill of being in a big area full of people sharing my passion and that energy and being surrounded by homies at this point. So I do love going to events.
Awesome. And speaking of events, you have an upcoming one coming up very soon here in not exactly Vancouver, but Surrey. It's about 30, 40 minutes out of Vancouver, for those who don't know, called Pataka Esports Festival. Can you tell us a little bit about that and when it's happening?
Yeah, so the Pataka Esports Festival is a pretty unique event that I started back in October 2024 is when we had the first Pataka. The tagline is community, culture, and competition and the thought was South Asians are pretty underrepresented in esports, and in North America and just in the world, there's been quite a rise in South Asian, anti-South Asian sentiments, and a lot of racism has grown. And so my goal was, hey, in the Smash Bros. And fighting game scene, there's quite a few top-level brown representatives. And when I was a youth, I always looked at those guys like Vish and the Crimson Blur, and I'm like, wow, these guys are role models. And they inspired me as this, 16, 17-year-old brown kid to be doing stuff in this space. So I was like, I want to create an event that can promote and share South Asian culture and be more than just a tournament and give people a feel and a taste for culture as well. So the first Pataka was really uniquely held in an Indian banquet hall. And the experience that I was trying to give was you're at an Indian wedding. So we had a daily...
cool.
Yeah, we had buffet meals every day. The venue was literally a place people get married in. So it was very elaborate. And it was a phenomenal time. The event was a really great time. Kind of under-expected. It kind of undersold, though, because it was the first time doing such a unique event. It needed people to be there to really understand it. And so we didn't do it in 2025, but the city of Surrey came to me and said, Kevin, we are really invested in trying to build community building events, especially for young people. And we really believe in esports. And I've been working with the city of Surrey really closely and helping them figure out how to do things like esports for young people. And they said, Kevin, we'd love for you to host another Pataka, and City Hall is where we're going to be hosting it.
Wow.
So the Pataka Esports Festival returns a little bit smaller scale. We're trying to go for about 300 people, January 17th to 18th. So really next weekend coming up pretty quickly here. Fighting game tournament, 2 days long. Indian food again, not an Indian banquet hall and not an Indian wedding vibe, but there will be delicious, authentic Indian food. Yeah. The city of Surrey has a 38% South Asian population as well. So that was one of the thoughts behind it. Like, we need to build something that can also promote and appeal to the people in this place to feel represented. So
that's awesome.
That's a little bit about it in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And if somebody wants to go, maybe even go compete, how can people find out how to do that?
Start.gg/Pataka, Pataka. And if you want to just come by and spectate, you can even grab tickets at the door. It's $25 for a spectator day pass or $40 for the weekend. And yeah, there's going to be tournaments. There's a theater in the city hall, the council chambers, which is pretty cool. So it's literally where city council takes place with like 250 seats. And that's where we're doing our top 8 and our broadcasts. So
Wow.
it's pretty historical that we're hosting a fighting game tournament in City Hall and playing on the stage. That's literally like
Yeah.
where the mayor has their weekly council sessions. So
That's awesome. Do you get to fight the mayor?
I'm hoping that the mayor comes by and checks it out. We've invited her,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll get a fight stick in her hands and see how
Yeah.
good she's at Street Fighter.
That's awesome. And you said it's going to be broadcast as well. So we're streaming the game from City Hall or from the Chamber of Commerce to Twitch and YouTube. That's awesome.
Yep, the council chambers is going to be live streamed. Yep, I'm excited.
That's so cool. And I guess last question around this: what games are going to be represented at Pataka?
Yeah, Pataka, just like Battle of BC, has a line of 6 games. We've got Super Smash Bros. Melee, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Rivals of Ether 2, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and 2XKO.
Nice. I think I can get good at one of those by next weekend. You think so, Jordan? Or
I came very close to participating in a Smash Ultimate event early on in the Grow Up Level Up days.
oh, what? I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it was I like to the point of I was training, playing on my Switch, brushing up on my Smash skills. Because I used to be into Melee and every entry since I've gotten to a degree. But yeah, I was prepping, and then and then something happened and the event wasn't able to go on. But regardless, I think you could get good at Smash.
Even if you're not good, Samson, you can come, you can play, you can vibe, you can go 0-2 and still have a great time.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I plan on being there. I plan on just like being a spectator. I don't know, maybe I'll play a round or two just to humble myself. But I'm excited. This is really cool. I do agree, like having esports, having events like this, not just for young people, but for people of all ages, is so important because really in the DNA of Grow Up, Level Up, it is about coming together as a people, the games that influence our upbringing, how it partakes in our day-to-day lives. Like that's really important. And esports, competitive games in general, is a really big part of that. Like not exactly fighting games, but I found a new community through like learning the Pokemon TCG over the past year. So I totally can apples and oranges, like vibe with the fighting game community as well, and I see the importance of it. So thank you, Kevin, for organizing something like this. This is awesome.
Of course, I really appreciate you thanking me for doing what I love to do.
Isn't that the best? Well, I want to talk a little bit more about you as a person. For somebody listening to this, maybe they're a fighting game fan. Maybe they're also somebody also looking into becoming an events organizer, whether it's fighting games or maybe not even in gaming. I want to talk a little bit about your style as a business owner, as a leadership leader. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. So for you, one weekend of Pataka, Battle of BC, whatever it is, super hectic. But if you were to describe your leadership style, managing not only like a team of volunteers and staff, but also managing how big was Battle BC? Like 800 people, you said?
2,500 people.
Yeah.
2,500 people. What is your approach to what is your approach to being a leader in that kind of space?
So for me, I think that it comes naturally to be the dude. I love the feeling of being the dude in the room. Like during an event weekend, I actually feel so fulfilled where every moment I have purpose. Like I have something to do. Something is calling me at any point in time during an event weekend. And if it's not, something might be wrong, to be honest, because there's something I should be paying attention to. For me, I think that the way, in terms of the leadership style, my goal is it's obviously not just me running these events. I have teams on these events. Pataka, for example, at least like 16 people are involved in trying to make the event happen week enough. Battle of BC is 60 to 80 people, depending on the year, involved in an event like that. My goal is to find people who share that passion. I lead with passion, right? I'm excited to be doing this stuff and I care about this stuff. And my goal is I'm only working with people who also similarly share the values of the event and care about the event. Obviously, not everybody is going to care about it the same way I do. These events are my baby per se. and I can't expect everybody to care about it like it's their baby. But at the very least, they're passionate about what they're doing. And my goal is to empower people to do what they want to learn to do or what they feel they're good at. So I talk to people about what they want to do on these projects, or people approach me saying, "Hey, Kevin, I really want to help you with this on your project." And
Mhm.
I find out how they can do that on my project, and I empower them to do so.
Nice.
Um, yeah, it's a little bit about
Awesome.
my leadership style.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like finding the right people for each role and then empowering. That's the word you used
Exactly.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this space in fighting games and esports is it's really, if you believe in seeing it, like you can achieve it, you can build it. Like if you want to see something happen, you can build it. And so I try and work with people who share that mentality. I like working with doers. I like working with people who just want to be in the trenches doing stuff, right? And
Hmm.
so that's I want to give them the opportunity to do stuff. And working on an event like Battle of BC or Pataka, these people get to do it on one of the biggest scales and levels that they possibly can.
Hmm. Hmm. And then it in the same kind of lane, like how do you build a team of people that you said are passionate about certain parts of esports, but like say like Jordan's passionate about building stages,
Mhm.
um, but there's no stage to be built. Like, is there a way that you can reorganize that, or have you found that not really a challenge yet?
Hmm. Just trying to dissect that a little bit there.
Tricky
Uh,
question. I know I could have worded
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a little
In terms
differently.
of like, if somebody is passionate about wanting to do something, but it's not something we do at all right now, or we don't have to do, I'll find something parallel for them, something that
Okay.
will still build them
Yeah.
towards stuff like that. Um,
Yeah. Work
yeah,
off of people's strengths. It sounds
exactly.
like. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want
Gotcha.
people to be doing, like, I never want somebody to be doing a job they don't really want to do on my event. Like if
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes
like,
sense.
I don't
Yeah.
want somebody to be showing up and feeling like it's a labor just to even show up to do the thing that they're supposed to do, right?
Hmm.
As I said, passion is kind of the lifeblood of esports, and the
Hmm.
reality is, like, there's not crazy bank for the people necessarily working on these projects, so passion does have to play a role in here. Not Almost nobody on the projects I work on, other than myself, is a full-time person in esports. So for them,
Um,
they usually either have a day job or are students or professionals in some other way, and then they do the esports stuff off the side of their desk. And so
hmm.
it's extra important that they're doing stuff that they're motivated to want to do.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, out of passion. This is just like this podcast, right? uh, unfortunately, not full time podcasters yet, but maybe one day
One
we'll
day, I
be
believe,
full time event organizers. Love that.
when you
Um,
grow up and level up just a bit more.
a little more every day, every year. Everyone's always growing. I guess like if something goes like this is kind of a job interview sounding question. If something goes wrong during the day, what is your kind of approach to navigating that?
So really just kind of depends on what level the wrong happened. I think
Hmm.
that during an event weekend, everyone has their responsibility. Like, there is a chain of command, there is an umbrella of responsibility. Hey, something's wrong with volunteers, our volunteer coordinator. Hey, something's wrong with exhibitor. Like, ideally, things don't escalate to me unless they are something that warrants it. But if I see
Okay.
it, then I will get the right person to whose job it is to solve it to solve it. Otherwise, I'll hop right in there and solve it. But honestly, it's kind of hard during an event weekend myself, as I was saying earlier, that I like, these are my babies, these projects, but I need to be really mindful not to overstep the people that I'm giving these jobs to do the thing, right? Because of course I can figure out a bracket problem. Of course I can figure out a problem related to power or equipment or broadcast, but I'm hiring people to do these jobs and giving them that responsibility. And unless they need me to hop in there, because of course I'm going to be down to hop in there,
Hmm.
I need to just direct things. I ultimately am a director. I am literally the event director, right? So I'm directing these problems to the right people. I'm communicating the problem to the people to handle them. And I am putting my brain into the problem solving anytime it's required of me, or if the problem is on the level where it is severity
Hmm.
that it's warranted, that
Hmm.
I just hop in there and solve it myself.
Yeah. No, I really kind of resonate with that. It reminds me of like my experience, like running summer camps. Like, not only is it like I'm the coordinator in the moment, but giving people opportunities to solve like the
Yeah,
bracket, for example.
I
Like,
can't
it's an
rob them
opportunity
I
for
don't
them.
wanna
Yeah.
rob them of the opportunity to learn by fixing the thing as well, right? Because ultimately
Hmm.
I am trying to get them to grow and figure out these things, and of course, if it's not going in the right way, like, I'm there, right? But ultimately, yeah, if I see something or it gets brought to me, I need to just put it to the person to do it, because also, if I don't do that throughout an event like Battle of BC, I will really be dead by the end of it, and sometimes I am. So,
Yeah, yeah,
that's up to
yeah.
me.
I can imagine after a huge event like that, you're just I need to go
Mm.
to the spa and
Hmm.
nobody touch me for a week.
Oh yeah, I just go ghost for like a month. But yeah, I mean, one of the hardest things being a leader on an event that you're passionate about is the letting go. And I do need to, and
Mm,
it's an important part of my job to let go and not micro stress about every single thing, because I need to trust, and I do deeply trust in the people I've brought onto my team to handle their shit. I believe in them to do what they're on the project to do. And I should only step in if I recognize something's amok, like they're not getting it
mhm.
done, or I need to step in to correct them. But otherwise, as somebody who's worked under other people as well, it's annoying as heck when your boss just keeps stepping over your toes or making executive decisions and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And like, I have to be mindful myself not to be doing that as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, but part of that might lead to burnout on your end. You're stretched thin already, and now you're stretching yourself more thin. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Talking a little bit about the scale of these events, you've grown it from, like you were saying, UBC, 400 people. That's already a lot. Now it's like I can't do math that fast. Five
2000
times?
classes.
No, six times?
Yeah,
Just
Six
about.
times
six
as
times.
big? Um, like, what changes did you make, and how did you get to that size? How did you scale that large in just under 10 years? And is that the biggest we're going?
In terms of like, so the way that big things that grew year to year, how many
Mhm.
days it was, our games lineup, like we only added fighting games on Battle BC 6 is when we first started doing fighting games. That was
Oh.
2023. So this is only our third iteration doing traditional fighting games. There used to
Oh.
back in the day be a very, very big divide between Smash Bros and fighting games. Fighting games kids, fighting games people called Smash Bros. The children, we
Hmm.
weren't actually fighting games, but now as all of our scenes have matured and understand we're all the same. We all love what we love in the same way, and the events themselves run the same way. So we are just one big community at this point. And so, yeah, the ways we've grown are how many days, the venue, the team size. In terms of what we actually did for that growth, I think some of the really big success factors or components to Battle of BC's growth, firstly, was international outreach.
Hmm.
Even from the first Battle of BC, we had international players. That
Really?
first Battle of BC popped off because Leffen came from Sweden, and
Oh
we had a
yeah.
ton of players coming up from all over the United States to participate.
Wow.
And so
Mhm.
that really helped. And then really quickly, Battle of BC 2, which was 2017, we flew out 3 players from Japan. Like Amza came
Okay.
across the sea from Japan for that one.
Wow.
That was one of Amza's first North American tournaments, his first time in Canada. Actually, I housed Amza for Battle of BC 2. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Amza, but
I
best
yeah, yeah, I
Yoki
remember
player of
they.
all time, the GOAT.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so always was big. I have always been really strong or confident about outreach. Like even as like a 14-year-old, I had no problem sending an email cold call asking someone for something. And so, you know, back then it was just Facebook messaging these people or Twitter
Wow.
DMing people and saying, "Hey, I'm running an event. We can like give you housing. We can help you come out here and we'd love to have you here." And
Mhm,
so,
mhm.
yeah, Battle BC2, MK Leo was there, like
Heck yeah.
Mewtwo King was there. We really just expanded that way of like what gets attention on a fighting game event. Well, when there's really, really strong level players at the event
Mhm.
is one of the biggest criterion in our space for what makes your event significant is what's the level of competition. And as a fan of these games myself, half of it was like, yo, I'd love to see Amza play at this event. Yo, I'd love to see
Yeah.
MK Leo at this event and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was a really big part of our growth process was just
Interesting. Yeah.
investing in getting top level players from overseas.
That's actually very interesting because
Yeah.
yeah, when you talk about investing in other events and and businesses, it's not usually like pulling in the celebrities more or less. Well, sometimes it is. Like what partnership, what validity do you have? But bringing people in to like compete, I yeah, that's actually really interesting. That's cool. Yeah.
Another thought behind that was really that like a lot of like BC is very talented at Super Smash Bros. We have multiple top 50 level players for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We've had top 100 level players for Smash Bros. Melee, and for fighting games, we're a really strong region as well. And so
Mm.
part of it was that a lot of our scene though is like hidden bosses. They don't really travel to a lot of events. So I was like, all right, I want to bring the competition here and give our local talent a chance to play on a big stage and compete against these top dogs and show them that like we are actually pretty good up here in Canada and we're not just a bunch of, random scrubs. And so,
Yeah. To put some respect on the region, respect on the name.
exactly.
Actually, that reminds me of a. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to talk about. I mean, I was going to kind of diverge from it, so I'm happy to hear what you had to say.
I just
before
wanted to
talk
tell
about
a quick story. I remember many years ago now. I don't remember the exact year, but I have a friend. She at the time worked at a brewery, local brewery in the area, and then she texted me one night and said, "Hey, do you know?" And I already forgot the player's name, but it was like a pro Smash player. He's like, "Hey, do you know so and so?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that sounds familiar. Like I think he plays Smash." And then she was like, "Oh, he's here at the brewery right now." And I was like, "Whoa!" It was like, "Why? What's
I'm guessing
happening?"
it was Hugs. Hugs comes to mind because he's a brewery
Might
guy, but
be.
maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, it might be. If it was Hungry Box, I might have made the trip out. But yeah, actually it might have been Hugs. And then I said like, "Oh, what's happening?" And that actually got me to find out Battle of BC was that weekend, and he was just taking the night off, I guess. Right before the tournament. So that's cool. Yeah, it's cool to bring like big names like that here. And that's how people like, she's not a video game player. She doesn't, especially like esports, but that's how she found out like this kind of event was happening, was because these big names from outside came and is in our community, in our region. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of like the big players coming as well, it also really is a snowball effect that happens, and we really go hard to make that snowball effect happen. Is when the competition starts looking stacked, other players say they'll want to travel for it without us having to invite them, without us having to pay them, without us having to fly them, because they also want a chance to compete against really good players. Because when you fight good players and you get wins against good players, your ranking goes up and you get a chance to really explode yourself. So that snowball I'm talking about has happened many times for us, where suddenly we have everyone just coming to the event. And Battle BC5 was like our biggest, craziest snowball in that regard. So yeah, that's
Cool.
another reason it's so important that we invest in bringing out this top level talent. Another way that I think Battle of BC, looking back at the early iterations, like how we grew so strongly and rapidly, I think that couple of things coming to mind because I'm really thinking about it now. Production value was always strong. That's kind of, I'm pretty proud to look back at like VODs from 2016, 17, 18. And then sometimes I'll randomly find like a VOD from another tournament in that same year. And I'm like, wow, their production value didn't age very well. And then I'll see like one of ours. I'm like, damn, like we actually did a really good job ahead of, like, we felt ahead of the times in terms of some of the production value back then. And that's something I'm really proud of in retrospect, because not only does the in-person experience go great, but our viewership continued to grow. And getting those eyeballs from around the world and being able to broadcast those storylines in high quality just helped Battle of BC continue to get name recognition from all corners of the globe. And so that production value on our stream really helped out.
That's
and that
awesome.
was just from investing in streamer talent and continuing to help them grow and get better at streaming. And
Yeah, no, that is huge, because like as a viewer, like I get more invested when, like, one, the stream is clear and I can see what's going on, and two, like the shoutcasters and the casters in general explaining what's going on, but also getting super hyped, and now you're getting hyped, and you're just, even as a casual watcher, you're like, oh, this is sports, man, this is esports.
Yeah, like the talent isn't just the players. Like even since Battle of BC 1, I flew out commentators, right? Like Battle of BC 1, Homemade Waffles and Aiden, if you guys know Aiden from the
Hmm.
yard, Aiden and Homemade Waffles commentated the top 8. And the Homemade Waffles invented the wombo combo. He's the guy who screamed
Really?
happy feet
Oh
wombo
yeah,
combo. Like
yeah.
that's Homemade Waffles. So him
Okay.
and Aiden commentated the top 8 at Battle of BC 1. So it's kind of crazy lore in retrospect.
Now, taking
Yeah.
taking a bit of a step back there, I was just going to say, you talk about the production quality. What if somebody wanted to check out that production? Where would they go?
youtube.com/c/Galint Gaming. So yeah, all of our VODs are on the Galint Gaming VODs channel. We've got about 13,000 subscribers on there and a ton of VODs. So you can watch back all of the Battle of BCs, to be honest.
Nice.
And
Wow,
yeah,
that's good. That's history right there.
yeah.
That's awesome. That'll
Will
be C8. Oh yeah.
Will
go ahead, Drew.
Pataka be streamed as well coming up in a couple weekends here? Yeah,
Yep,
perfect.
it will be. Yep, our live streams go on YouTube. Yeah, we actually have been pioneering trying to do a lot more YouTube streaming in the fighting
Nice.
game space. We restream every event that we do on both YouTube and Twitch. Twitch.tv/Galint Gaming as well is our Twitch. So give us a follow if you're so kind, and subscribe to us on YouTube if you'd be so kind, because yeah, that's where you can watch all of our events. And if you don't watch them live, you can catch them afterwards.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll leave the links in the description below as well. If you are not from the region, you want to watch, definitely check it out.
That's
Jordan
me.
will have it on TV all weekend. I think.
I won't make it out in a couple weekends here, but maybe Battle of BC. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. When is Battle of BC? We actually kind of skipped over that.
Yeah, Battle BC is going to be happening June 5th to 7th. So we're actually moving back to our
Okay.
summer date. We've kind of fluctuated anywhere from March to June. Like we've been always somewhere in that range. And this year we decided to go back to being a summer event. And I'm really excited
Right
because
on.
Vancouver in the summer is one of the best places in the world. Like no
Oh, yeah.
bias, it's genuinely so beautiful.
Oh yeah, I will be there as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, Battle of BC. I am excited to attend my first one. Maybe by June I'll be good enough. You know,
Mm.
maybe
believe you
I'll
have
make
5
top 8.
months
I'll
to
aim for top
train.
8. Yeah, yeah. We talked a lot about the talent, both casters and players, competitors. A little bit more on the business side.
Mhm.
How did you manage like partnerships, like sponsors, volunteers, I guess, all that? What was that experience like rounding that side up?
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that I'm really good at cold outreach, or rather, I never had any qualms. Not even that I was really good at it. It's just that I was never scared of it. A lot of people are scared to ask for things, and I've never been scared to ask for things. And I think that's something like I might have learned from my mom at an early age. Like I've never been afraid to ask for the manager to replace my food when I was
Yeah.
like when I was in elementary school or like high school, and we were out eating or something, and somebody's order was wrong. I was the guy who asked for the manager and helped. Like I never had any fear of that. I think that's just because I'm a hyper extrovert and all that kind of stuff. So it really was just I was able to do cold outreach, and I never talked about my educational background, but university, I did a double degree in business and computer science. So I have a Bachelor of Commerce. So I was in business school when I started all of this stuff. So I also had business school does teach you generally about everything. So kind of had that grounding, and I was always surrounded by a lot of people doing this kind of stuff. I was in a lot of clubs outside of just doing my esports stuff. So, like throughout high school, I built a lot of different things. I built a charity. I did Model UN conferences. I did a lot of different things, and I got really good at being able to ask businesses and adults. And I'm actually really, really grateful looking back at it, because now as a 28-year-old on the adult side of it, even though I'm still a fucking kid at heart and am a kid in terms of a lot of ways,
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
a 16-year-old emailing, or 17-year-old, 18-year-old emailing me for the things I was emailing people for. I'm like, I don't know if I would have treated them the same way, but I'm really grateful to all the people who treated me as an adult when I was really just this 18-year-old
Yeah.
with a dream and a vision. And yeah, so just cold outreach, knowing how to LinkedIn, find people, knowing how to find contacts, and just so far on Battle of BC, nobody has sold a partnership in these 10 years other than me, which is kind of crazy to say. But it's really that nobody can sell your dream better than you. It's just the reality. And so when I talk to these people about the importance of this event, the impact of this event, the value it brings to them, and the significance of their support, like it was, I'm really confident that once I get into a conversation with somebody about why there makes sense for their brand to be supporting Battle of BC, they can. And so, yeah, I mean, Battle of BC 1 was sponsored by Red Bull, and that's
Wow.
part of
Good
why
for
it
you.
kind of popped off. Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
cow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like networking overall is important. Doesn't really matter the form it's in, but you gotta do it. Like you have
You
to
got
be on LinkedIn. You got to cold email
yeah, I hate
people.
the phrase "your network is your network," but really, like, if you know someone, like, it's all about just knowing someone or knowing someone who knows someone and having the, you know, ability to ask somebody, "Hey, you know a guy from here? Do you mind introing us?" and that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you meet somebody on the inside of one of these places and you can convince them why it's cool, and then also finding people who like Smash Bros. Like genuinely that Domino's. I have a sponsorship from Domino's right now for Battle of BC last year, and the reason is because their marketing manager likes Smash Bros. And he watches Battle of BC every year and all that kind of stuff. So you just got to find the gamers, even if they're not in a gaming company.
Yeah. I think I forgot who I was listening to, but it was also Vancouver local. Oh my gosh, Batwing, Electric Playground Jordan.
Oh, Victor
Lucas. Yeah. He was chatting. He was saying like it's like in Vancouver we just have to start talking about, instead of what show we're watching, what book we're reading, talk about what video game you're playing and normalize that, because there's more people out there that play video games than we assume. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that is a really cool point. And then you get partnerships out of it, friendships, and opportunities out of that as well. Yeah.
And like Smash Bros is such a great one because almost everybody has some experience with Smash Bros, whether it was even just like, hey man, like me at my frat house, we used to have a Smash Bros setup and we used to play. Like you'll just, the moment I start talking to people about, I run Super Smash Brothers tournaments on the largest scale for a living and stuff like that, like they usually get it in some capacity. And then when I tell them about how it is like a sport, and I describe it now as virtual martial arts, that's a term I've been coining. And like when I tell them in this like lens and framework, they usually get it. And these days, especially with esports being mainstream at this point, not quite, but like almost there, more and more people just get it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I recognized, what is it, when our friend said like, oh, this is Kevin, is like, he organizes video game tournaments, and then you said something about the biggest tournament in Western Canada. I was like, oh, Battle of BC, and I'm like, oh, Smash Bros.
You're like, I don't just organize video game tournaments, okay, guys?
Yeah. You run the whole show here.
That's awesome.
I'm always grateful when I get that kind of like reception on things here, because it's always still crazy to me. Like when I do get recognized as the dude who runs Battle of BC, or when because I don't usually lead with, hey man, I run the biggest fighting game tournament in Canada and this kind of stuff. I'm just a dude who likes to run tournaments, and my tournament just now happens to be super big. But when I do have the conversation, somebody puts two and two together that, oh my God, you run Battle of BC, it's like a really humbling feeling still.
That's awesome. I mean, like running tournaments seems like it's got to be like a little bit of everything. People, managing people, partnerships, and all that. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that you're also the founder of, is BracketBuddy, that you use to organize events. What is BracketBuddy and how are you using it?
Yeah. Low-key, BracketBuddy is kind of paused right now as we figure things out, but I can happily talk to you guys about what the concept behind BracketBuddy was, and it is a lot. It was used for multiple events. The idea behind BracketBuddy was a mobile app for iOS and Android that allows players to have a tournament organizer in their pocket, basically. Like esports events, fighting game tournaments can be pretty daunting in person for people, especially if it's their first one and they have no clue what's going on. And a lot of things still are done pencil paper, like straight up. It's like a dude with a clipboard and a pencil and paper and a bracket yelling for people's names and telling them to come to a station and all that kind of stuff, right? And BracketBuddy, our goal was to modernize the tournament experience. So it gives you a push notification when your match is ready, it tells you where to go, and it lets players report their own scores and all that kind of stuff. You can follow along your run. It has like an upset tracker across the entire tournament. So the goal really was just like put information real time in people's fingertips. Start GG, which is the back end for pretty much every major tournament, notoriously, sadly, has a really poor mobile experience. So their mobile website, still, like, I love the team at Start GG. They're close friends of mine, and they know this too. Their mobile site is not
Oh,
good.
no.
So it was partially out of that, is like, okay, we need to create our own mobile client for Start GG, but also there's so much that can be done to streamline and improve the experience for an attendee at the events. And so that's what we were hoping to create with BracketBuddy. We ran it at a bunch of events. At the moment, it's a little bit on pause, but I really do see the power of it to put a tournament organizer in people's pockets is the goal.
Yeah, that's really cool. That is like, and not just for fighting games too, like for all types of just competitions where people play one another and then have to report it in. Like, I know for TCGs, we're all still using paper slips that you walk up to the counter and hand it in, and you just trust the other guy enters it into the computer correctly. Yeah, there's a lot of room for that, and part of that is this like really complicated math as well, trying to figure out like win percentage and ranking.
Bracketology, man. Yeah, bracketology is
bracketology. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing about your experience in esports so far. I want to look a little bit about the future of Canadian esports in general, and the whole event side. I guess, like, what is your vision for the future of esports in Canada? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think Canada has a lot of room to grow in terms of having a strong esports ecosystem. And I've been doing a lot of work towards that, not just with what I'm doing in Battle of BC, but actually this past year I started a new event in tandem with Battle of BC. It actually happens at Battle of BC upstairs on the upper floor of the convention center the same weekend. And it's called CEGIS, which stands for long Canadian Esports and Gaming Industry Summit. So the thing about esports in Canada is there's actually a lot going on all across the country. But the issue that I was seeing is that there's all these really talented people, but they're very siloed from one another. They're not talking to each other. Some of them don't even know each other exist, and they're kind of just doing their own things, right? Partially just because Canada is so geographically big. But my goal was bring all these people under one roof and get them talking to each other, educate each other, teach each other, network with one another, so that we can start building this identity of Canada's esports industry, because all these people were just doing stuff without this shared feeling of like, we're all in this as building Canada's esports industry. And Canada also suffers from a lot of brain drain, right? Because there's so many bigger financial opportunities in places like the United States and in esports in Saudi and all these other places around the world. So we have a lot of talented people leaving because they don't really have a feeling of like, hey, there's so much going on here that we can grow into. So that was pretty much the goal with CEGIS, was like, let's build an event. We had 130 people come out to the first CEGIS. It happened concurrently with Battle BC, as I said. So half of that was a two birds, one stone. Is like, a lot of these people haven't actually been to a major in-person event. So they can come to Vancouver, learn at CEGIS, and also get access to Battle of BC at the same time. So I get to show them what a real deal grassroots community event on this level looks like. So that's what CEGIS is. It's happening again in concurrent with Battle of BC. Bunch of panels, workshops, networking sessions, a career and job and education fair as well. So that's a little bit. So that's a bit of a self-plug, but also one of the things I'm doing and what I see.
Plug as much as you want. Plug as much as you want.
Of course, but I think that one's a really important one, because I just saw that, like, I was talking about all these people doing stuff in the space in Canada. And one of the groups of people doing stuff that I think is really important and exciting in Canada is the education sector. So across Canada, there's at least a half dozen different colleges and universities that I can think of that have academic programs related to esports. Genuinely, there's like esports business management diplomas, esport event production diplomas, like 2 to 4 year programs, 6 month to 4 year programs, depending on where you go, that are entirely dedicated to teaching people skills to work in the esports industry. But you can't really have that unless you have an esports industry. So it's kind of cyclical. And the issue with esports as well that we face is that because it's still in its nascency, there's a lot of snake oil salesmen. There's a lot of people who come into the space who talk the talk, but haven't really walked the walk. And then you get a college that gets a program built by some dude who charges them an arm and a leg and has no real qualification to do so other than he taught them. And then it goes poorly, and then they think esports is a sham and they walk out of it all. So that was one of the goals with CGIS is to bring those people together as well. But what I see opportunities for in Canada, continue to build the education space properly for esports. And I think the education side of esports and gaming is so important, even beyond teaching people how to run events, but educating people on the importance of esports and why esports has such a strong and healthy impact on the lives of young people. Just like doing it in that framework of education is really important. Like, I am going deeper into the education side. I'm doing prof work at a university starting in September to actually start teaching esports. And I'm currently working on a YouTube education series of how to run fighting game tournaments. And I'm talking to teachers about like why it's important, like why they're like ninth grade student who's super addicted to whatever game he's addicted to, like how to guide them into doing that in a healthy way, right? Because unless they understand like what that healthy way is and what that framework of esports in a healthy lifestyle context looks like, they don't get it. So kind of adultifying how we talk about it to these people, about the impacts and outcomes it has on people's lives, is really important. And I think this is pretty far from where you started, but this is some of the stuff I see for the future of esports.
Okay, no, that's actually perfect. Honestly, it's like the next generation. It sounds like where we ended it is like, how do we teach these young people, bringing everything you've learned so far, even and what the entire industry has learned. How do we bring that into the next generation, and how can they implement that in games that they care about? Right, like we talked a lot about fighting games, but any game could be a competitive sport, like Fortnite, of course, Counter-Strike, Valorant, Overwatch, Pokemon, all that can be an esportified. So how can we use what we already learned from Battle of BC, put that into the next generation so that they can also have the same opportunities and communities and all that for themselves?
Yeah. Like I really do reflect on how in this past decade plus of growing up as somebody immersed in the esports world, like just seeing how much it's changed in this past decade. When I look forward to think about where it's going to be in 2036, I'm just like, I have a vision for what it can be, but now it's how in this next 10 years do we actually go from where we are now to where it can be, where, you know, esports is a widely, fully accepted form of entertainment and a hobby and a passion that is a healthy part of the lives of the people who engage in it.
Do you ever see it becoming like, maybe not like NHL, NBA level, but it's something that you can take like Pataka, oh, we have a weekend free, let's go catch the top 8 at Pataka this weekend? Like, do you ever see esports reaching that kind of level?
I mean, like MSI was fully sold out. That was like 17,000 seats at Pacific Coliseum. That was fully sold out, right? Like, I think it already kind of is in that level of entertainment, right? People travel across the world to watch these things. Like during MSI, I did 2 watch parties in Vancouver at bars. I got 100 people at 2 different bars on a weeknight to be watching League of Legends, right? So it is already among a generation, but we just need to continue to propagate this forward. And now, as the generation that grew up playing these video games becomes, you know, actual adults and people with power and influence and that kind of stuff, you know, it's only going to keep growing in that realm. So yes,
that's awesome.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Can't wait. I don't even play League of Legends, and I went to MSI because I'm like, I gotta support the event. Yeah, it was awesome. It was so fun. And seeing the community show up, seeing friends come from across the country and across the world to come watch MSI was like awesome. And for a game that I don't even play, League of Legends. Do you, as bringing it back down to Galint Gaming, do you guys have plans to like expand to other genres, or is fighting games kind of the niche that you want to stay in, the lane that you want to stay in?
Yeah, so I've kind of over the past couple of years been not just fully locked in fighting games. I've been kind of open minded to doing whatever, but really going into 2026 and the second half of 2025, I really locked in Gallant Gaming strategy and vision. And Gallant's gaming strategy and vision is to be the leader of the Canadian fighting game ecosystem. Like, that's our goal. We want to lead and develop and build the Canadian fighting game ecosystem because esports is so broad, right? League of Legends, Fortnite, Valorant, as you said, all these different
True.
games
Yeah.
is so broad. And of course, there's opportunity for me to do stuff in all of these spaces. But at the same time, then I am shotgunning and going widespread. And as I said earlier, I'm the only person full time on all this stuff and all that stuff. So I don't have the resources to try and tackle every one of these things. And as you guys know, each game, each community has all its own nuance, all its own challenges, all its own things to deal with. So for me, I'm really locked in on fighting games. And I mentioned this earlier, but I'm trying to really build this concept of fighting games as virtual martial arts and like using that framework to help educate people who are not familiar with fighting games about why fighting games are so important. And I really deeply believe in that about fighting games, not necessarily about every single esports title has everything to do with being a virtual martial art per se. Um, yeah, fighting
Yeah.
games is where I'm in on, especially
Yeah.
because of the in-person nature. I also want to touch on that as to why
Sure.
fighting games are so special to me is because you're literally side by side with the people you're playing against, right? When you're at these in-person events, and
Yeah, true.
nothing is more like literally pitting yourself one on one against another human being to decide who is better at the game, right? That's very primal. I'm trying to figure out the word I'm looking for
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Intimate.
Very, very. I don't know if natural is the right word, but intimate, maybe.
the
Intimate.
spirit of competition is
Yeah.
deep there. And because it's in person, it's building third places. Like, that's what these events really do. Like, you can be a League of Legends deep esports player and your entire career is from your home and you're not competing. Like, running a League of Legends LAN does not get everybody playing these games and does not empower everybody to compete. But the beauty of fighting games is they're open format tournaments. Anybody can walk up and play and participate. And in your round one, you might fight the best player in the world, which is so exciting, to be honest. Even if you get your shit kicked in, like, it's a fun experience to have that honor. Imagine being a basketball fan and your like first round opponent is like Michael Jordan, you know, like that is an honor. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
getting people together is half of the importance for me of that. Like,
Awesome.
with the digital age we're in, we need more and more in-person spaces for people.
Yeah, so true. So true. Can't argue with that. Bringing it back to my trading card game experience. That's one thing I like it. You are face to face with this person. You have to like fist bump to start the match. And then you're just sharing a space with this person for so long, and win or lose, like you had a moment together, and that is something that you can't get out of every game, can't get out of or even every sport. Like lots of sports, you sit on the bench or something for the entire game or entire match. That's awesome. I love hearing about your experience with running Gallant Gaming, running Battle of BC, Pataka Esports Festival next weekend, January 17th to 18th here in Surrey, BC. Do you have anything else you want to shout out before we close out the episode? Anyone else? Anything else?
Anyone else? Anything else? Yeah, I mean, shout out to everybody who has come to any of the, like, I am still humbled when I think that, yeah, you guys were super hyped about 2,500 people come to these things, 450,000 unique people watch these things. I am just so grateful that people care, right? It means a lot to me that people care and people show up to these things as well. And people take the time out of their days, put the money in to come out to these things. People literally flying around the world to participate in these events because they see the importance in them. They get the excitement out of them. Like this event in Surrey City Hall, the fact that like it's really hard to run an event, and I've been really stressed about Pataka, especially because during the holidays I was pretty clocked out, and now we're back, and it's all suddenly so much to do in so little time, and I was feeling really down about the event this past weekend. Like before I started my work again, like I started work again on Monday, and on Sunday I was just so like, I really don't want to do this right now, and
The
then
Sunday
I
blues.
really I had the blues of like, man, I'm like not stoked right now to like go back into the fray of it. And I had to just take a second to reflect and be grateful. And that really helped motivate me that the city is giving me funding. Sports Surrey, Discover Surrey, the Downtown Surrey Business Improvement Association, like 3 different city municipal level entities believe enough that it's important that something like this exists, that they're putting dollars towards helping make it exist, right? That is pretty surreal that like 10 years ago, Kevin, the Kevin who started Battle of BC, wouldn't have ever even thought that would happen. So yeah. So
Yeah,
thank you to everybody who's believed and supported these things. And whether they're just watching it online, liking it, favoriting it, doing whatever, or showing up and putting in work at the events, like I'm grateful.
amazing.
Yeah.
And one more time, where can people find out more about how they can get involved in these tournaments, whether it is watching online or participating or competing, and all that?
Yeah. So Gallant Gaming across every social. We're on X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever find you. Gallant Gaming. That's our company's name. Me personally, I'm Reindeer, REINDHIR on most platforms. So definitely feel free to give me a follow. I'm trying to use less X and less social media in general these days, but I'm an addict, so I'm there all the time. But yeah, Gallant Gaming. I'd love to see people at our future events. And if anybody ever has questions about the space, I'm an open book. So many people gave me time of day throughout this whole journey, even when I don't think I necessarily deserve their time of day. So I'm always happy to give people that same thing back of believing in them and giving them whatever conversation they're looking to hear about. So
Hmm.
yeah, and
Hey,
thank you
and
to you guys for letting me talk for an hour about this.
no, man, thank you for giving us your time. You are like a leader in this space, and we're
Mhm.
honored to have you on. Very humbled and honored to have someone of your like wisdom and tenure running stuff like this to come on our humble little podcast and chat about your experience and like talk about the games that helped you grow up, that still influence us today and hopefully into the future as well, to the next 10 years and
Of
what Battle
course.
BC will look like.
I can't
Well,
even believe what it'll look like.
oh my gosh, Battle of BC 10 is coming up soon. We got to go on
Oh
the list,
man,
eh?
yeah, this is our 10-year anniversary. Oh yeah, one last thing I wanted to shout is go
Go
to
for
your
it.
local. I feel like people need to just go to their locals. In this day and age, fighting games, because netcode has become so good
Mm.
and everybody's an adult. People have jobs, people have wives and kids and all the responsibilities of being an adult. They're sitting at home and playing and not going to their locals. And I think they need to remember that's where it's all about, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if you're good, if you're not respected by other people around you, but also the social aspect of these games is so important. And people cry about not having scenes and all that kind of stuff. You don't have a scene unless you're showing up to be a part of your scene. So it
Mhm.
really is important to go to your locals. And yeah, I think you asked me way earlier in this, and I don't want to like talk a million years about it, but
Oh, it's
what
all
the
good.
future of esports in Canada is and future of esports in general, it really is the grassroots. We can't be expecting more 10,000 person arena events and that kind of stuff. Even Battle of BC, it's just so hard to make these things actually happen. Like, I don't necessarily see another Battle of BC scale event popping up in the next 5 years in Canada. But what I do really hope keeps popping up is more and more locals, 30 to 100 person events all across the country, because
Mhm.
that's the lifeblood of esports.
Mhm. I could totally echo that. I literally had that feeling last night. Over the break, I didn't go to any Pokemon locals just because there weren't that many in the area. I was busy with the holidays. Last night was my first one back, and I'm like, dang, I missed this. This is important. Like, this is why I like to play what I like to play. So go to your locals wherever it is, wherever you are in the world. Support your local scene, and win or lose, the important part is that you went out and are playing together.
Mhm. Yeah, the real
Awesome.
memories are made at the dinner afterwards when you're talking about your bad losses and your great wins.
Yeah. If I didn't do this, I would have won for sure. That kind of thing. Jordan, do you have any other questions for Kevin before we close out the show, or thoughts? Yeah.
No questions. It really was great to have you, and a lot of great insight. We'll talk after recording about how we get a Battle of Alberta going. So
Battle of
Course, yeah.
Banff. Put it right in the middle.
I actually did Battle of Lethbridge last year, and I'm
Oh,
doing that
really?
again in May. So pull up to Lethbridge,
Okay.
Alberta. Anybody from Lethbridge, Alberta? We had about 60 people there.
I lived in Lethbridge for a few years while my wife went to university down there. So I know
Awesome.
I knew the scene
I
down
love the
there.
Owl.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've been to the Owl.
yeah. That's a good place. Lethbridge is a good
Wow.
place. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, bring it back. We'll bring it back soon. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on Grow Up, Level Up. Once again, an honor. We are very humbled and appreciate you spending your time with us tonight. And if you want to hear more interviews like this, or just hear Jordan and I yap week to week, make sure you follow us at Grow Up Level Up everywhere that you have internet, Instagram, YouTube, all that fun stuff, and podcasts as well. My name is Samson XP. You can find me on all socials at Samson XP or on Blue Sky, smsn.bluesky.social, where I'll be posting updates on new episodes and all that. Jordan, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Sir Dr. JM. That's Sir DRJM.
Very nice. And once again, Kevin, before we close the episode, where can people find out more about Galint Gaming and Battle of BC?
At Gallant Gaming and at Battle of BC on most platforms. At Gallant Gaming is the best one. At Battle of BC just on X and Blue Sky. But yeah, anywhere on the internet you can find Gallant Gaming.
Amazing, amazing. And we'll see you all at Pataka next weekend, January 17th to 18th. Bye.